Hey, welcome to Discover More here at Peace Church. I'm Ethan Lumen, got David Forke here. Back from the youth gathering, the LCMS National Youth Gathering, and all sorts of fun things there. So we're continuing in our series on words for the journey. So you're going to be talking about a word from the gathering, but give us one takeaway from the National Youth Gathering with 20,000 high schoolers and
one takeaway.
Thousands of volunteers.
Well, I mean, clearly one of the greatest things about an event like that is when you get to spend time in a big place with 21,000 people praising God. There's just something special about that. That for most people that happens maybe once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And the energy in the room, the spirit-filled worship is just super exciting. But for me, other than that, it was just seeing how that many young people and Christians in the community every day making a difference. People notice. And I had many people talk about how much they actually love when youth gatherings like that come.
Wow.
Because they feel that those young people care about them, and that they're making a difference in the community. So it's cool to hear that.
It's an experience to be grateful for.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
That was our theme for this past week, was gratitude. And as we talk about gratitude, it is a popular word. You can find gratitude journals and all sorts of different things around gratitude. So as we talk about gratitude as Christians, though, it anchors our approach to God, right? It anchors our approach to our lives to realize, we came into this world with nothing, and we'll leave this world with nothing. So if that's the reality, that we came into this world with nothing and we'll leave this world with nothing, everything in the middle then is a gift. And if we can see everything in the middle as a gift, it reorients us to our lives, to the relationships we have, to the stuff we have, to the time we have. I mean, man.
Yeah.
The blessings we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, count your blessings, right? And there's a song that people used to sing, and just the idea of counting your blessings. It sounds kind of trite, but it's actually very significant. And so for me, what I'd like to pray in the morning, Lord, open my eyes, my heart to see and recognize the blessings, because we get moving so fast that we don't always recognize it. We're just going from one thing to the next, and we don't realize how wonderful life is actually going for us, the things that we have that God is providing. And if we can recognize that throughout the day, it makes a big difference in our attitude. Not just not the attitude of gratitude, but just then it helps us to be, I think, more ready to serve others and to show love to others when we're recognizing how blessed we really are. Yeah,
and like you're saying, I believe gratitude helps us live more in the moment. And C.S. Lewis had this famous line, "The present is where time touches eternity." And I love that. Yeah. Because in reality, we talk about living forever and all these things, but in reality, when we're actually living now, that's all we know is eternal life. That's all we know is eternal. When we're engaged in this moment, I think the challenge of 21st century life is we're scheduling out so far in advance. Right. We're driven by our calendars. We're so busy, yet we have enough time to binge watch Netflix. This contrast of whatever, but to think about this moment and what this moment has to offer us. I was just driving down a country road yesterday and thinking about being fully present in this moment and just satisfied to be driving. The sun shining and the green trees and the green grass and this moment is all I have, and this is a good moment, and to be grateful for what we have. So I think that's one thing as well, is just really living in the present is essential, and it's also our foretaste of eternity.
Yeah, that's pretty deep when you start linking that to the eternity. I get it; it's really real, but I think that's a little hard sometimes for us to grasp. But I believe that you're right. But the more we're able to do that, to live in the present and think about that, this is me, and God is here with me, and I'm connecting, and I think it becomes more real like that for us.
Yeah. But one thing that for me, I still kind of I don't know how to wrap my head around or grasp, if you will, is that idea of a never-ending story.
Yeah.
Because all we know is stories that have ended, but our life is, this story that, in our experience, even as we approach life, well, our story's not going to end.
Right.
We're going to keep going and going and going. But we all know that death comes at the end. But when we encounter people in our lives who are truly grateful for what they have and the life that they've been given, and one of the blessings of being a pastor is we get to go to people's homes and when they're aging and can't get out, can't do all the things they used to do, and I'm so grateful for what I have. It's like, you can see how that gratitude, well, it has gotten them even where they are now, and it holds them fast in that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a couple of people I've been able to visit here just recently that really struck me. That they're even in the midst of talking about how, we can't do what we used to do and this is what life used to be, but their gratitude for what they had, how God blessed them in the past, and then that bleeds over right into their gratitude for what they have today. And people like that are a joy to be around. They really, really are.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's so easy in our culture today to be the opposite of that, to be always pointing out, this is a problem, this is wrong, this is not good. And we're inundated by that in the news and the media, right? People just want to point out everything that's bad, everything that's wrong. And there's plenty to do that too.
Yeah, and that's honestly one distinction I made in my message this past weekend was the difference between overwhelm and joy.
Yeah,
and
I
really
like that word, overwhelm. I like that. Yeah.
I looked up the etymology because I've never heard anyone be whelmed, only overwhelmed. But it actually it came out of like the boating world. To be overwhelmed was a boat that was capsizing. So whelm was to be covered with water, but the overwhelmed, then you're fully capsized. So the world has plenty of waves to throw our way, kind of beating on us in our lives. And man, it's so easy to be overwhelmed with but the shift as I think about it, the shift is they say, well, it's not my boat, it's not my life, it's God's. We were bought at a price. He's in control, and it's okay. And when we can turn from feeling like we have to control the wind and the waves to knowing that God controls the wind and the waves, we can have joy. God's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that information honestly, I was thinking about that when you used the term the way you did in the message of overwhelm as a noun. I've always only heard it as overwhelmed, being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I did wonder about the whelm thing.
Yeah.
If you're overwhelmed, but I didn't look it up. I didn't look it up, so that's.
Well, I had to be like, what is that? What does whelm mean? Yeah. But anyway.
But it's a great picture though, because there are constantly waves, and we feel like we're being overwhelmed, or we allow ourselves, in one sense, to be overwhelmed when we're focusing on the waves. And that reminds me then, of course, of the story of Peter stepping out of the boat. When he's looking at Jesus, it's all good, and he's walking on water.
Yeah.
And then he notices the waves and the wind, and his focus shifts off of that, and that's when he starts to sink. He becomes overwhelmed in essence. But then Jesus is right there. Lord, save me. And Jesus is right there, and he pulls him up.
It's funny, David, you clearly weren't with us last week because I talked about
Is that right?
Peter and all that. So that's funny. So if you didn't watch last week, you can go back and watch that now, because David's going to after this. No, just kidding. But,
a lot of these words that we're doing, there's overlap. They connect so well.
They've actually kind of laid together pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've been encouraging people with lately, and even myself, is like, thank God that you're in the position to be dealing with this. Like for instance, somebody dealing with some relational issues. It's like, thank God you have that person in your life. Isn't it great that you're feeling weak? Like you're willing to acknowledge that you're weak. And like Paul said in 2 Corinthians, when I'm weak, then I'm strong, because I need to rely on Jesus. So if we can actually learn to be grateful for those things that we see as hardships or difficulties. There's a woman I was talking to about, like dealing with some really pressing kind of like hard issue. There's no clear right and wrong. Like, how should I approach this relationship? And what I told her was like, thank God you're in the place. Like, how many Christians would actually find themselves here? Not many. they would have taken the easy way out long ago. You know, but you stayed in love, and now you're here in a difficult place, and just thank God that you're the type of person who can be in this place. God will get you through. It's going to be weird. It's going to be hard. It's going to be painful, but God will get you through.
Yeah.
So we can be grateful even for those hardships, you know?
Yeah. And the opportunity, there's opportunity to grow and learn in the midst of those hardships too. And that's one thing I've tried to teach myself, or have God teach me, is when in those times that there are struggles like that, the question maybe should be turned not to why me and this is a horrible problem and how can I possibly fix it, but the question maybe is, okay, what is God trying to teach me through all of this? Mm-hmm. And to be grateful that He, you know, that He is, in a sense, trusting me to go through this, and trusting me to look to Him for the guidance through that.
Yeah.
So
look to Him. That's a good word. Well, we hope this has been a helpful video for you. If you don't do a gratitude journal or have a practice of gratitude, I encourage you to pick it up this week. Try to just keep a piece of paper where you write down something you're grateful for that day. And if you're struggling, you got something to be grateful for, I'm sure. Even if it's just, if you're in Wisconsin, that there's a Quick Trip in your town. You know, I don't know, just Quick Trip came to my mind. You know, Quick Trip, you got to be great. We have a Quick Trip right down the road. So
there's a Quick Trip everywhere.
Exactly. So there's something to be grateful for. But we hope that these are helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we continue to discover more.